It is 9 o'clock. We can call the meeting to order, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, Steve was unable to be here today, so I'm covering the meeting for him, and I did verify there are no additions today to the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the agenda as presented.
Okay, thank you.
Support it.
Moved in second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda, the minutes of April 27th, auditor warrants from the 30th and 7th, the commissioner warrants, hospital warrants, and treasurer's report.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Nick? Morning.
Good morning.
Did you take my agenda?
All right, first up for me today will be some project updates. The first update I have is for the 2021 box culverts, contract number 1. They started on the last of those 3 culverts yesterday, so looks like we'll be getting those completed before the Topeka Shiner restrictions kick in. So that's really good news. I'm really happy about that. So, but we've had a good spring for that, so that's yeah, I guess to be expected. So, my last update for now then would be on the next page. It would be our 2021 overlays. March 3rd, they started working on sidewalks. Those are about wrapped up now. Then last we were told the mill should be in the end of the week to work in Edgerton and in Hatfield. And then they were hoping, if everything goes right, to start paving the week of the 17th. So that'll be good news there. So yeah, I might be done with our overlays by June then, so that'd be neat. So that's the last update I have for today. Next up, I have approved some right-of-way payments. Pretty large number here. Some of these are a little larger. Most of them are either they were on a 33-foot road and we need to buy out to 75, or they're a little wider. So some of these are a little bit bigger. That's what's going on with those. Otherwise, nothing controversial or irregular.
I would move the road payments.
Okay.
Dan will second.
Move in second. Any discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Then it's my understanding that everybody got a copy of the annual report. Okay. I will put it on the agenda for next month too. If you have any questions, if you have any questions now, I can try to answer them now. Otherwise, I can track the answers down for you and report back later. Okay, all right. The next item I have, just curious, I assume you want to continue to bid our fuel in bulk like we've been doing, okay? That being said, do you have a date in mind now you'd like to open bids at, or I can come back, next meeting if you want to think about it a while. We can pick a date then.
How's your current contract, current supply? When does that expire?
End of June. So, if we wanted, we could have an opening end of June. It doesn't kick in until, July 1st, or we can open, I suppose, first meeting in July. But
Have you got a recommendation or preference?
no, I don't. It's really whatever you think will give us the best price.
The
I'm
June
not a-
8th, would that be too soon?
Or the 22nd.
I'm just
That-
saying we might be better to do it sooner rather than later. As you know, as it gets closer to the 4th, the prices are just gonna keep going up.
Well, they've been climbing already.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if we can pull it off on the 8th.
June 8th.
Okay. Yeah, usually it would be like the meeting before, but I don't know of anything that would say we can't do it on June 8th, you know, so.
On our current contract, is that limited by date or by total gallons? I don't recall. I think that's total gallons for the year.
Yes, and then it's like a margin after that. If we exceed that,
Okay.
you know, they have to like give us an invoice, this is what they paid, and then they get their markup for, you know, hauling and whatnot, so.
Would you maybe want to take a look and see what the current prices are, knowing that prices are going up right now, and see what our margin is on that other? Maybe we just want to buy off the old contract for the first month or so until market stabilizes. Because we've got capacity for a large quantity of storage, so you could bring in a transport and that would take us through the summer maybe.
Well, it depends on what we used, right? We contracted for so many gallons, didn't we?
Yeah, it'd be, if we did that margin thing, you know, if fuel was going up, you know, they would buy it, and then they would just add on their markup.
Right.
So that would,
But my thought is, we don't necessarily want to lock into a contract right now, knowing that we're having a peak, and we don't know if it's gonna come back down, or if it continues to rise. Yes, we want to buy right away, but we don't know that.
but if we opened bids and didn't like them, we wouldn't have to award it either.
Yeah.
So if, you know, you could just reject them all, I suppose, if you wanted. So
But we do
I-
have some quantity left on the existing contract.
I would assume so because it was a nice winter. But I haven't looked.
But yeah, if you think first part of June, to set a date, first part of June.
I mean, just see what happens. If we don't like it, then we.
Right, we can always
Just
turn them
don't,
down.
yeah, okay. And then what time did you want to do that at?
Um,
You know, the mail comes in, I think we've been doing 10:30 on our other bids, just in case the mail's late, but I don't know that anybody would mail in a bid for that because of how volatile that market is. You know, you'd have to send it on Thursday or Friday to,
Right,
you know, it could change a lot by then.
yeah, 10 or 10:30, whatever you think of.
Yeah,
work.
okay,
We'll leave that up to you.
okay.
So then do we decide on the first Tuesday in June, the 8th, or the 3rd on the 22nd?
I think the 8th.
I will be gone on the 8th, but that certainly
Okay.
doesn't affect anything on that, so.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll just,
Have to set a motion, don't we?
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we set the bid opening date, June 8th, at 10:15.
okay.
10:15, okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Maintenance updates for the last month. Pretty much been crack sealing when conditions are fit. We did a number of ditch cleans last year. We're seeding those down, or reseeding them, whatever, you know, making sure they're established, and doing some maintenance graveling, so. Then upcoming work for the next month, we'll be starting spraying. I don't know if it'll be by the next meeting, but you know, that's coming up too. Got some washouts to fix, finish crack sealing. Then we're gonna work on some shouldering on County Road 18 and 9. And I think that's the short version of what we got coming up next month. Then another side note I had, we completed that trail, or that little spur trail on County Road 67 by Indian Lakes. And now we're looking for a bench donation to put out there. Does anybody remember what we did last time? I feel like it was the Friends of the Monument or something like that, but I don't know if that group.
If I remember right, I thought we just advertised it online and a group of people stepped up or something.
Okay,
Kathy, do you remember? Do you remember who we did?
I know it was shared on Facebook,
Yes,
but I'm not sure
Who,
who
yeah.
ended up paying for it.
But if I remember right, I mean, somebody responded on that within the first day or two.
yeah, I want to say it was within 2 days we had a donation.
Yeah. I'll just maybe suggest going that same route again.
Okay. Sounds good. I talked with Fish and Wildlife and they didn't seem to really have a big preferences, to exactly what it is or
A lot of
whatever.
times somebody has a loved one that like to frequent that area or fish
Yeah.
or something, so maybe.
Yep, and it's a nice looking bench that we got last time, so, I plan on getting a donation and then we just form up a little slab and
So
pour
that,
it.
that little sub trail's not gonna be paved or anything? It's just-
No,
okay.
we put gravel out, where Fish and Wildlife wanted it. They went out there and they mowed where they wanted the trail and,
Right.
that's where we put the gravel and,
Mhm. Yeah, it looks nice.
yeah, I planned on, our guys just pour a little slab big enough to mount the bench to, and then we just take it out there and set it down where they want it, and that'd be it, so.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll get something going, so advertise somewhere and see what we get, so,
Sounds good.
all right.
Thanks, Nick, for taking care of that road issue by Trotsky. It's very nice now.
Which one was that?
Seal coat that was potholed so badly. It took care of that. Dave Coyman probably did it.
Yeah. We got a lot of miscellaneous projects. I guess I'm drawing a blank on that one.
That's fine.
Unless it didn't.
Accept the congratulations and move on.
Well, I don't want to take it for something I didn't do or didn't have anything to do with it.
We got
Okay.
done, so.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. We'll take it.
Then on that county road, kinda going into Trout?
Gravel coming out of Trotsky is County Road to the north.
Oh, okay.
Oh, kind of out to the,
Getting so washboardy that you couldn't stay on the road.
It's a cemetery.
yeah, there's lagoon or whatever too. Okay. Yep, gotcha. So, all right. I guess that's all I have for this meeting. Does anybody else have any questions for me?
Stone Arch Bridge. You'd mentioned a few months ago that it might still something be working somewhere, but it's still pretty much an enigma.
I have a group call or Zoom meeting or whatever it is this afternoon, and I didn't want to say anything at this meeting, but we might.
That's fine.
Yeah, I might hear something about some potential funding on it, so I might know more later this afternoon, but sounds like there's the state might have a small pot of money that they might want to dedicate to that type of work, so.
That would be nice.
So, yeah,
Project.
what's that?
Been a long project already.
Yeah, it has, and then, we're working on that one north of there,
Yep.
too, on the north side of the park, so we'd have to coordinate that, so, one of them's open all the time, so.
Remind them it's a historic bridge. So
Yeah.
It's not just any other one, but
Yeah, well, yeah, I was told at one time it's the longest stone arch bridge in service yet in the state, so that's kind of some nice bragging rights, but
I think the other one's up in St. Paul, if I remember right.
is that where it is? Okay, yeah, and what I was told, I don't know if that's true or not, I've never looked it up, but that's what I heard, so,
Wouldn't think there'd be too many of them left.
no. Nope. So, nope, sure looks nice though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's all I had, so as always, if something comes up, feel free to give me a call.
Nick, did you want me to cover Trevor's promotion while you're still here?
Oh, sure, you can. Yep.
So, Mr. Chair, if it's okay, I have a personnel item for the highway department, and I did hand out the pay plan this morning. We hired Trevor Losher as an engineering aide in 2019, which just just to refresh your memory on that, that was a new position that we created in order to bring in candidates that maybe didn't have their civil engineering 2-year degree, but kind of grow them into the position of an engineering tech. Trevor is doing really well. He's completed 2 full years of employment with Pipestone County, which Nick and Jared feel is equivalent to a 2-year degree. And they are seeking approval, I guess, to promote Trevor to an engineering technician effective June 1st, 2021 on step B of the pay plan.
And I should also add that he interned for us. If you remember a few years ago when we got an intern, that was him.
Okay.
So he's got that construction season as well, so.
Nice.
I'll make that a motion.
Okay.
I will second the motion.
Okay, any further discussion?
I do have some questions, though, and I really do concur with you that we want to be able to reward him for his good work, his good service. But it's not going to set a precedent in the future that might hurt us because do I understand this correctly, we're making the exception that he doesn't have his degree, but we're going to pay him as though he does have his degree? Is that what we're saying here? Or is this just our step rate, and our step rate would be tied to the specific requirement of that engineering tech?
I think it says degree or equivalent, right?
Yeah, so we consider equivalent.
Okay.
If we were to hire someone with a 2 years of experience, we would be looking at that,
Because of
putting them on
equivalence.
that scale as well. Yep.
Very good.
Okay, any other questions? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, well,
Thank you, Nick.
And our congratulations for getting that done.
yeah, all right. Have a good day.
Beth, thank
Pass on
you.
to Trevor as well, too, that we appreciate what he's done as well.
Will do.
Yes. Hey, Kathy, do you have anything else?
The only other personnel item I had to announce was we did make an offer to a seasonal intern for the extension office, and her name is Tiana Muller, and she will be starting later this month. I don't have her exact start date yet, but when school finishes up, she's going to be starting out there, and that position is funded by the Ag Chamber still, so.
Good. You want to do the Novell Energy Solar Garden subscription thing?
Yes, I may need someone else to take the lead on this because I'm not briefed on this agreement. So I don't know if there's a commissioner that's been involved in this or.
Not to my knowledge, has anyone?
We can maybe muddle through a little bit and maybe just table it until next time when Steve is here. But from what Steve had explained to me, this is in regards, of course, we talked about the contract for the stuff out at Health and Human Services. And Steve, if I recall correctly, had explained to me that he did some research on it. And with our existing agreement then with Novell, that if we were to enter into this agreement with this other company, that would cause some possible legal issues because of exclusiveness on that. And then as he looked into it, he said that Novell can do the number, the Novell has to do with our total county meters that we have as far as what our solar gardens amount that we are eligible for. So with our existing Novell contract, we could do the exact same thing with them without having to physically build anything out there and not have any contract or commitment beyond what we've got. But that was just my basic understanding. So I probably, if you guys don't mind, I would make a motion that we table this until Steve comes back. He can explain it better.
I would second that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know I've talked with Steve a little bit about a week or so ago, and we're better off to do something with Novell. And I believe it's in Cottonwood County. We can buy into that one there and use credits from that.
Yes.
For us here. And Steve was telling me, don't hold me to the figure, but last year we got a check back from Novell for around 49,000, wasn't it, Dan?
That sounds right, yeah. And you'd use the term buy into the one in Cottonwood County. We don't have any cash outlay. It's just that we would
Yeah,
allocate our,
we just buy some credits there.
yep, yep. Allocate
We had
credits.
25 credits we could buy yet,
Yep.
something
Yep.
like that.
But by buying, we'd allocate our usage. We don't have any out of pocket. We're not actually physically paying
So
for
it's
it.
kind of a no-brainer the way Steve explained it to me.
Yep,
Yeah, I just had some questions, because on the agreement, the stated amount and the numerical amount don't match, and I was kind of curious about that, but we can look at that later. Okay, we do have a motion and a second to table this. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. RCRCA Area 2 Joint Powers Agreement Renewal and Increase in County Levy. What the deal is on this? I need a board authorization to sign the Joint Powers Agreement renewal. It's just for a 2-year, similar to what we've been doing for 30 years roughly. But for both Area 2 and RCRCA, they are proposing approximately a $5,000 increase in the levy for all the counties involved total. For both organizations, for Pipestone County, it amounts to about a $100 increase for the two combined. So, and the last time they had an increase, for one of them, it's been 11 years, and for one, it's been 8 years. So,
It's a long time without an
it's
increase.
a long, yeah, and even the amount of the increase is pretty nominal when
Well,
you
yeah,
think about it, so it's kind of amazing they can,
I guess I wouldn't have been surprised to see 500.
right. But yeah, I guess what I'm looking for then is just the approval of the increase in the levy for those organizations and to be authorized to sign the Joint Powers Agreement renewal for our CRCA.
So move.
I'd second that.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Casey's not quite here yet.
Should we see if we can slip Wayne in if Casey isn't here?
Sure.
Let's see if he's on.
maybe if Bill's there too, maybe have Bill come in too.
They are on their way.
Perfect.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Wayne.
Okay, we want to start with the mini split first then. I got 2 mini split bids for the EMS, for the IT room. You can talk to Bill about this, but it's been running like 90-some degrees in there. His equipment put out close to 45,000 BTUs when it's running full bore, everything running in there. So the temperature is getting too hot in there. And we've got a couple fans running in there, but that don't help. So I got 2 bids for mini split. Quist Plumbing and Heating is good to 40 below. That one's $6,717. The Stout and Eving bid was $59.03. Then that they put a shield on theirs, which is at $168, so their bid would come in at $6,071. And I think that's just one shield where Quist is putting 2 shields on. And theirs will go down to 40 below.
Well, that's what I was wondering, do we need this other stuff that's listed
Yes,
on the Quist bid?
yep.
So if you add in all that, how much is it?
Quist?
No, I mean, do we need this list of stuff that's on the Quist bid?
Yes.
Then
That
how
is,
much?
that is to get it down to 40 below.
Okay, so how much is that gonna add to the stout?
No, that, oh, this other, he's adding $168.
That's just for one,
Yep,
but there's a whole list of things here that,
right.
do we need those also?
Well, that's what they give for a bid, and I'm not sure if that one goes to 40 below.
I mean, it doesn't seem like we're getting apples to apples.
to
here.
Right.
apples.
That's why I sent him a message this morning, he just texted me back, and that's what he come up with, so. That's what I'm thinking too. My recommendation would be go with the Quest bid.
Yeah.
Okay,
At least he's lining out everything that he's doing and everything.
right.
And I'm sure Bill would agree too. You know, because we know what we're getting with the Quist bid.
Right.
For sure.
Everything is there.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'll make that motion that we do approve the purchase of the mini split from Quest.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, the necessity of it then, so Bill, have we added that much more equipment in the IT room that our heat's starting to go up, or is just the existing ventilation system?
It's been an issue for a couple of years, and what really brought this on was we really started paying attention to the temperature in there, so I added a temperature sensor, and now I get alerts when it gets above
Okay.
90 degrees.
And the existing building AC system, is there ductwork in that area, and we just don't have enough tonnage to cool it with the
Right,
existing?
it isn't big enough, it's there, but it's not big enough to do what needs to be done in that room.
Okay.
And we've explored other options, like trying to power vent the room, and we run into issues with the potential fire with natural gas being in that area. It all goes back to, it really wasn't designed for what we're.
Right.
Mr. Chair, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it 75 degrees is maximum
That's
threshold?
where I'd like to be,
Yeah.
75.
And anything over that degrades the system that much faster and all the
Oh, yeah,
equipment.
yeah. Yeah, I understand the room needs to be cool, I just didn't understand
Yeah.
what had precipitated this. And as far as efficiencies, I really believe mini split systems are far more efficient than other things.
Yes.
So this makes good sense.
How long has it been running this warm?
I got about 2 years worth of data. It really gets intense in the spring and the fall when we've got temperature change outside where we're running heat still. The boilers are running in there and then it's still actually kind of warm outside.
Yep.
So it's not like it's been continual for the 2 years, but just kind of intermittent.
Intermittent.
It's seasonal.
Yeah.
It is seasonal, correct.
Okay.
The other thing that we don't see on the bids is what the electrical cost is gonna be.
Right,
So-
right. That'll be minor.
Yeah, okay, good enough.
I don't think that'd be that much.
Okay. Any other questions? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, then I got another bid from Michael's Fencing, and this is to replace the fence around the hog barn, taking down the tall fence and redoing it, and then putting a gate out to the north parking lot, so people don't have to walk around the road, they can come through by the hog barn.
Oh, nice.
And this will be covered under the agriculture grant, the agri grant from the state. So basically, this got to be approved, and it will be paid back when the grant is closed out. And I'll be coming back with another bid from Hog Slat for new gates for the hog barn when I get the bid from that. I don't have the final bid because we have to measure every gate, and every gate's made specifically to fit between the poles.
Okay.
And I think that bid was like 6,000 some. The grant is 11,614 this year. So
And then how much is the fence?
fence is 4,543. And they will be fixing the fence around the grandstand too when they come in. We have that turned into insurance.
Right.
Okay.
So that is, we got it back too, so. that'll be getting fixed at the same time.
So we need a motion to basically approve the grant and then the outlay for the fence.
Yep, yep.
I would so move.
I'll support that.
Any discussion, questions? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, then one more thing is Veterans Park. Tim Topman approached Steve Ewing about upkeep on the Veterans Park, and he is willing to do it for no charge.
This is through Sons of the Legion.
Yep, yep, and then Sons of Legion wants to put veteran flags and stuff out there too. Should probably be able to do that all at one time, and
Good.
Steve was gonna take care of it, but
I've heard you talk about this before, Wayne.
Yeah.
I'll move for
Yep.
approval on that.
I will second.
Any questions or discussion?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
just think it's a good opportunity, take some more responsibility off Wayne, and, somebody's volunteering to do it. I mean, by all means, I know Tim Toppin will do great work. He's going to take great care of the park.
Right.
And if they're willing to put flags and do all that and do it, I mean,
And he wants to paint the shelter too.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
that'll
redo
be a
that.
nice improvement.
Yeah,
Nice to get it done at no cost to us.
yeah.
right.
And I know I had talked to Tim about it at the Legion breakfast one day, and he mentioned, having, if they were to put up flags, it'd be like under the existing light, so they don't have to worry about any additional lighting or anything. And of course, I told him he'd have to come here to seek approval.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing here, I guess.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Did you want to update on the fair, or?
Sure.
Okay. So far, the fair is going through. We're having it. There's gonna be 4 nights in the grandstand. We're gonna have donkey races on, Wednesday night, and then, we've had them before, back in 2007, but,
Okay.
and then, Thursday night's antique tractor pull, and then, Friday night's the big NTPA tractor pull, and then, Saturday night's a band. But I can't announce that yet. I don't want that going in the paper.
So are
Until I
you
get the
gonna-
contract signed.
Are you gonna be one of the jockeys for the donkey race?
I'll watch.
I think we should make that a requirement before we
Well,
approve
I think
this.
we just should have a commissioners team.
There are age limits and weight limits.
There is weight limits. There isn't age limits, I don't think.
They're young donkeys. No, that's what donkey meant.
Yeah, but, and then we've got some, a bunch of other entertainment too that's gonna be going on too, so. Jesse Moffett will be there.
Oh, good.
He really
Yeah.
is a big
That's
fan.
under the tent, right?
Yeah.
He'll be in the, Magic Show will be under the tent, and then, his other show will be in the show arena.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And then we got, Sherwin Linton's coming back again, and Larry Olson band. So, but yeah, we're moving forward with it.
And there's a midway, I assume?
Midway will be coming in,
Mhm.
yes. Yep, they're excited to get going this year too.
Oh, I
so.
bet.
I think everybody is.
Yep.
There's such
Yep.
pent-up desire to get out and get back to normal. And it's-
Do anything.
Yep,
Well, that's encouraging.
I think last year the fair especially really had an impact on this community here. Everybody really looks forward to that every year, so.
if I can get the contract signed for the band, it will be announced on the radio Friday
Okay.
for the Maury Van Hookey Weather Show. It'll get announced for that.
Okay.
Is where it'll be announced, so, if I can get the contract signed. He's working on it right now,
Sounds good.
so. Okay,
Thank you, Wayne.
yep,
Thank you.
yep.
Casey?
Sure. Happy to hear a copy of this.
Yeah, I think it was in the packet.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. I'll give you one of the colored copies too. We can sign that one. Good morning, Mr. Chair and the board. Thanks for
Morning.
having me.
Morning.
Sorry I'm a few minutes late. We're trying to finish hashing out the rest of the logistics for the EMS open house next week. So we're going forward that. With that, that will be on Thursday. The ads will be in the paper this weekend and next week. But I am here just seeking approval and a signature for accepting the 2020 Emergency Management Performance Grant in the amount of $16,291. It's not down very much from the year prior, but as you know, this amount fluctuates every year, and it's kind of based on national disasters, I believe, but does anybody have any questions about it? Just kind of the
This is federal money?
same routine every year, yep. And it's administered through the state. They're the ones who make sure the grant requirements are met and whatnot. And I don't know if the federal money goes to them first and then they divvy up according to county population. I believe that's how it's
So Casey,
administered.
the matching requirement of $16 or $16,000, so then that's state money or is that levy money?
That's basically the county emergency management budget money.
Okay. And that was my next question. So you've already budgeted for this in your budget request for 2020, so you're covered here
Yep.
on that 16. Okay.
Every year, and we usually just do a salary match because that's kind of the easiest one to track rather than having it go to specific training requirements or whatnot.
Very good.
I move for approval.
Okay,
Second.
okay, move in second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll say that there's a bill, of course, in the state legislature where they're trying to get some state money
Yes.
finally. And the Minnesota Rural County Group's been kind of leading that effort. And it's my understanding that that is tentatively, may get approved.
They kind of mentioned that we had a Region 5 meeting last week for emergency management, and they were kind of talking about it. Is it still kind of the $30,000?
Right, and I think it's like a 3 million per year
Yes.
for the next biennium.
Yep.
But it amounts to about 30,000
And
per county.
I don't think there's any really requirements or stipulations on it.
Right, it's basically just having the state chip in for the first time for a program that they mandate us to provide.
Right.
And they provide us zero right now, so.
And that would be great, because then, we could do a little more with it, because, you guys know what the emergency management budget entails, and it's pretty bare bones and whatnot, and I feel like we could probably do more.
But I think because of COVID, it, made a good time to make the argument that, not only did you provide nothing prior to this, but now there's all these additional duties, and you're still
Yeah.
providing nothing.
Right.
It's maybe time to step up, and
They've been
hopefully
working
the-
on pushing that through for a couple of years.
yeah, I
so-
think this is the third year in a row now. And Senator Weber was the lead on the Senate side.
It's nice to see it make some progress finally.
Yeah,
so
hopefully.
Hopefully it'll,
Not get ejected at the last minute.
right. Most people don't realize emergency management is there until they need it,
Right.
and they're wondering where it's at, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You
I
bet.
will get you, I'll give you this original copy if you would like to sign this one, and then when Steve gets back, I'll have him sign it too.
Okay.
But just under the grantee, as in previous years, all board chairs sign. So, but I'll just do that with you guys, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, have a good day.
Thank you, you too. Okay, looks like we're down to committee reports. Dan, you want to start off?
Sure. Started out the month then with my Prime West meeting on May 6th. Again, we're still doing that virtually as well, and the meeting was pretty straightforward again. With virtual, it's kind of cut and dried. It's a little bit different. Have some discussion about our community reinvestment grant, and as you're all aware, obviously, we've had the groundbreaking now on dental facility here in town that you're aware of, and that again was facilitated through that community reinvestment grant. Still working on the, bringing on the additional counties into the Prime West group, the additional 13 counties, and still waiting for our state to allow us to do that. So we think that's probably going to be sometime this next year. We're still working on that. Also, there's some discussions with Murray County, again, whether or not they will or will not come in. That's up in the air again as well. Anything I'm missing, Les, for Prime West?
In the financial report, we had some really good news. Over the years, we probably talked about RBC, the ratings that you have to have before you get in trouble with the state. Well, in 19, we were at a 476% RBI rating, wasn't it, Dan?
Yes.
And at the end of 2020, we were 570. So that's really good, but the COVID money plays into that. So
Right.
it makes it a little bit false in a way, but we were very pleased with what happened and what we've done for organizations, helping them out financially. So we're very pleased to see that happen. Good
And that was the
management.
April meeting. I misspoke. April meeting, not the May meeting, so yes. Thank you, Les. Then on the 8th, we had our Pipestone Area Coalition meeting with Southwest Health and Human Services, again with the students back in school somewhat. Program is still going on. They do have, they have decided to go ahead and fund the use or the purchase of a utility trailer, cargo trailer, that'll have the Area Coalition sign on it. One of the things that the grant wants is to see some permanence, programs that are going to continue, not just a one-time deal. So this was an area where I thought to be able to get some name recognition out there, again, also for the Area Coalition, and again, incentivize that positive norms that they're always talking about for students making positive choices. But this trailer will be used for like the robotics club and things like that, where they need to have stuff to store and haul to different events. Possible that. The band has got a couple of their own already, so there might be some use there as well too. Also with the coalition, participated in a national training seminar that they've got. It was over the internet as well too, and talking about these same concepts. This Dr. Lukenbach then from Montana and Montana Institute, some of those same philosophies of how to reach children and create those. A lot of concern now with all of the discussion, especially in our neighboring states, with the legalizing recreational marijuana, cannabis. That's going to pose certainly another challenge as well too. We're spending all this time and money and effort trying to encourage our children to make positive choices, and then you've got this other influence in people with their opinions and so forth about it. It makes it's very difficult for adolescents. So anything we can do to help them is certainly needed. Even just the vaping issue has creeped into our school as well. So then on the 9th, we had our Southwest Mental Health Consortium. That's still via Zoom. Normal budget meeting on that, our annual meeting. Providers, as you know, with Southwest Mental Health as well too, it's kind of the same issue, that providers are difficult to staff these positions, and dealing with all of the extra stress of the COVID and people being isolated. It's been a challenge there as well too. And then on 13th, Les, Wayne, and I and Steve had a building and grounds meeting. We're talking about the ventilation system. And also Johnson Controls came in, and Les, you want to fill in some information with our discussion with Johnson Controls, where we did decide to go ahead with that.
Yeah, just things that we have to do to keep up with times in the building. It's time. We're at the point where we got to invest a few more dollars to update system.
Yeah. This is the same program that we've been working on for a number of years with them, as I've gone through the stages. And the big change now is going away from the pneumatic control system with the thermostats and the damper motors and getting it all over to digital. So it's time to make that next step. And now he's coming back with a specific proposal.
Right.
That'll come obviously in front of the whole board. So it's kind of where we're at on that. Then on the 14th,
take place in 22 maybe, or 23 over the next couple of years, but we're
Yep.
setting the stage for it at this point.
they had also commented about the money that we spent on the duct cleaning and how they can really tell a big difference on that, and also even the draw of the amperage on the motors running those fans, that it's, and you can even hear it's much quieter than it was before. It's not straining like it was before. Then on the 14th, we had a personnel committee meeting. Nothing, I guess, specific on that. On the 19th, I had my SMOC, Southwest Minnesota Opportunity Council meeting, and that was via Zoom as well. I think I'd reported before that our director then, Neil Steffel, has decided that he is going to retire at the end of this current year. So we're in the process now of putting together a search committee and so forth, and also taking a look at job descriptions, things like that. Then on the 20th, I had my Rural Minnesota Energy Board meeting. Along with that, I was asked to speak on a Zoom conference call with the Midwest Governors Association about the need for transmission lines, and how important it is to, you all know that we are tapped out on the total amount of capacity we've got to get our power out to the market, so kind of talked about that. And on the 21st, we had our Southwest Health and Human Services meeting up at Marshall. Again, I had nothing specific on that. Les is on that committee with me as well, too.
Just their cash balance was right at 5 million.
Yeah.
And then we had,
Anna Warren, of course, did a report on where she's at with the health and human services part of it and the vaccinations. And as we know, as we're going through these steps with, they're getting more vaccinations out. I don't think they're doing any more specific clinics up there. They've also seen a drop off as we have here.
right. They just don't have the traffic to make it worth their manpower.
Yeah.
Then we had a presentation on child protection.
That's what it was. Thank you. Yep.
And also, we updated policy 25.
Yep.
So,
Couple just some tweaks on some of the different policies, personnel policies.
that's all I had.
Then on the 22nd, we had our Casey Jones Trail meeting. Chris is with me on that one as well, too. They are in the planning stages of having their annual meeting. Again, with COVID, we didn't actually have an annual meeting last year. We've got one scheduled, I believe it was first part of July. It was, not have to look at it. It's tentative at this point.
Right, it wasn't dated.
And then that last section of trail that we got paved a year and a half ago, we still haven't had a ribbon cutting for that. So at this time, the tentative plans are to have that at the trailhead there in Lake Wilson, and then do the ribbon cutting as well there. So, oh, excuse me, Woodstock. No, it was Lake Wilson. The trailhead at Lake Wilson is where they're going to have that ribbon cutting at.
Okay.
Yeah. And then on the 28th, we had our transit advisory meeting. And Dallas was able to join us on that meeting as well, too. That was, everybody was very intrigued because Dallas was multitasking that day.
That's correct. Planting corn.
Planting corn. But advisory committee, they've got a couple of buses that need to be replaced. They're scheduled to be replaced. It's in the process, but again, with the shortage of chips for vehicles, the new vehicles aren't here, so they're having to extend the use of these existing ones. So we'll probably actually be replacing 2 of those. And even though we have had the moratorium on collecting fares this last year, there still is enough money in that fare collection because we do have a county participation in the purchase of the new buses as well, too. So some details we worked out there yet, but there is funding for that. Okay, that completes my report.
I'm just curious, getting back to the trail, if they're gonna have the ribbon cutting in Lake Wilson, how long do you think it'll be until they actually have a paved trail to Lake Wilson? And will it be long enough in the future that, will there be any trail left that's currently paved Or will it have deteriorated by the time they get funding?
I can update, we did meet with the DNR on that on the 21st, I can update you on that.
Yes.
Because there's a 10-year plan that they got approved for, and also 2-year guaranteed funding for the next 2 years to get the Curry Loop repaved and some other things too. I'll update you on that.
Okay.
And we continue to push for that granting. And we're a little bit surprised earlier this year, we found out that even though Casey Jones Trail was the first designated trail in the state back in the 70s, and we just seem like we're beating our head against the wall.
One of the
trying to get
last
funding.
funded.
Well, they got moved down to a second-tier trail, and nobody was notified of that, so that basically took away all funding.
Yep.
And put all the other trails like Cicada and everything else as primary. So even though it was the first, when they started moving up all these other trails, and they put it down here to,
We're
So
now
is there a way to
designated
get
as
that
secondary.
changed?
that's why we're meeting with the DNR, and we're trying to do that. And actually, Rick Anderson, I'll update that, is gonna bring it forward to our regional AMC and try to have all the counties support the trail to get changed over and stuff. Like I said, I'll update Rick on
Okay.
that later. So.
Okay, good, thanks. Dallas?
Okay, since the last committee report, we had April 13th regular meeting, April 14th with AMC land use. We talked a little bit about disposal of solar panels. They are now classified as hazardous waste, and it's $40 a piece to dispose of them. And a megawatt project was 4,000 panels, it's $160,000 disposal cost. And that came into effect when the conditional use permit for the DeRuyter Novell. So very seldom that a meeting impacts the next one that closely, that directly. Some other things they talked about on the AMC was they're repowering windmills by reading. They're having some issues with lay-down yards and where the traffic and all that. There's a wash bay issue by Leota, both water and waste issues. And Round Lake Winery is expanding, in case anybody wants to know. And that's another set of problems for getting the zoning and expanding their business. April 19, conditional use permit, which was the DeRuyter Novell project. And most of that was covered at the regular meeting and then brought up. And April 21st, Plum Creek Library Board was a live meeting in Slayton. It was actually a hybrid meeting, and was very disappointed that the moderator did not pay any attention to the live people. He was on his screen and and just, we could have just well not been there. They have an interim director now. They're hoping for a permanent one soon. They have talked about hotspots they've supplied. They got 40 more now with grant money. And they're getting a new bookmobile, and they're having a naming contest. And I got a couple of the first ones yesterday. Back Road Betsy is one. Frederick Vanfred, if anybody knows that reference, Frederick Manfred. And Plum Creek Express, so they're trying to get, there's a list of some appropriate and some not so appropriate. But
Right.
I think the commissioners will be able to vote on it at some point in time, so.
Are they gonna paint it purple like a plum?
I don't know if painting was extra. I don't know if that was discussed. And there's some discussion on the Pipestone School versus the Minders Library, and that's something I don't think we want to get involved in. So, April 27, regular board meeting.
Oh, Dallas, it might be worth noting, though, that with the funding, that Plum Creek can't be involved in a school library. Do you want to explain that? Or?
I would if I understood it more, but
With the
it's a
current,
separate.
yeah. But my understanding is with the current agreement, of course, it's a community library. So as the community library is part of the Plum Creek Library Association. But if indeed the school takes that over, then it no longer will be a community library. So if it's a school library, it won't be eligible for the resources of Plum Creek. Is that how you understood it as well?
Yeah. And the Minders have some money involved in this also because it's named, so that to be determined how that all shakes out.
Yeah, because didn't they donate So it would be a community library?
The Minders family?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, April 27th was the regular board meeting, and I was wondering when we were talking solar gardens, why are they all limited out at 1 megawatt? And I guess I didn't ask the right questions, but I got it answered the next day. If that's such a good idea, turn your whole quarter section into solar. But it turns out that the production tax is only for those projects over 1 megawatt. That's why they stop at 1 megawatt. Because I asked about property tax, and they are zoned commercial, but that's the only revenue that the county gets for them. The windmills obviously have a production tax.
Right, or a bigger solar project like the one east of Marshall.
Yeah, that's why these smaller ones are limiting out at 1 megawatt.
Right. It's a loophole.
Loophole, yeah. And April 28th, the Transit Authority. I hope I didn't make anybody too seasick. I had this computer in the tractor with me on the buddy seat, passenger seat, and did the Zoom call that way. And showed people what I was doing, and they were amazed about the technology that's in the typical planter tractor nowadays, with GPS system to drive you, and different prescriptions you can do for seed. You can change the population on the go, and then a mapping system to map where all the seeds were. And like you said, brought up, there's 3 computers in that tractor, and I had my 4th one in my pocket just in case. So, but they were interested in that, so I hopefully added something to that meeting that way. And last night was a fair board meeting, but Wayne took care of most of that, so. And I'm not allowed to say who the band is, so.
Okay. Les?
Okay, well, April 1st, we had Prime West, and we talked about that pretty much. On the 5th, we had plant ops at the hospital. That discussion was held at the last board meeting at the hospital. On the 8th, we had soil and water, and they talked about a badge policy for like the badges we have here for the people that work for the SCD. Then there was an ATV quote that we approved, some cost share contracts, and then some updates and other stuff. And then all the reports were given. On the 9th, Luke and I had an executive meeting at the hospital. On the 14th, Southwest Mental Health. There, the director's report was one thing. Things are changing, the statutes in the state on how law enforcement responds to mental health cases. And a lot of gray that has to be answered yet. But I guess the director has been in contact with all the sheriffs in the counties that we serve. So more to come on that as we feather through that one. New statute number is statute 609. And then we talked about fundraising and a website, but we're thinking about rebranding the name to take mental health out of it. Make it more appealing to the people. 'Cause mental health kind of puts a bad taste in people's mind.
Got that negative stereotype.
Yeah. And then on the 19th, Luke and I had another executive meeting at the hospital. On the 22nd, Health and Human Services, we pretty much talked about that already. And then on the 27th, hospital board. On the 28th, I had radio board. That was a Zoom meeting. It's executive meeting. There's only at the most 7 people on that sit on the executive committee. So we're doing that Zoom, but we're going back to in-person meetings for the full board. It's too hard to get involvement on a Zoom meeting and keep track of motions. It's a big problem. When you're looking at the screen, and I've led the meetings a couple times, you're looking at the screen, somebody says something, and all of a sudden, by the time you missed who it was, and then you gotta ask. So, we're going back to in-person meetings. And then on the 30th, Luke and I had another executive meeting at the hospital. That's the end of my report.
Okay, Chris?
On the 6th, I had Towards Zero Deaths, the Pipestone Lincoln County Safe Road Coalition. Jennifer Nelson from Southwest Health and Human Services sat in and chaired the meeting since the chair is vacant. Preliminary data from April 5th is that statewide there has been 81 deaths, which is up from 60 deaths at the same time previous year. I won't get into all the numbers of all that. But speed-related deaths are outpacing last year by 40%. 64 traffic fatalities this year are related to speed-related deaths compared to 11 this time last year. We haven't had any in Pipestone or Lincoln County, but there's been 7 fatalities in southwest Minnesota. Over the 4th of July, one of the highway patrol that was on there said that there's going to be extra enforcement along Highway 14 corridor. Really, there was just a bunch of data sharing, and then they announced that Deanne Holland from Southwest Health and Human Services is going to be chairing that committee from now on, starting on their next meeting. On the 14th, we had Southwestern Mental Health, which Les covered already. On the 21st, the Friends of the Casey Jones Trail sat in with DNR and Regional Parks and Trails manager Chuck Carpenter. Requested, like I said, to have the trail be listed as a primary trail over a secondary trail. We have support of all of our legislators on that, Weber, Schumacher, everybody are in the area. There's a request to have Pipestone to Walnut Grove paved within 10 years, is the plan that they're working on right now. And the challenge is all the other state trails that have primary designation. And so what they're looking at is they want more partners to try to help with this, specifically counties, if we're going to get going on this. And so that's where Rick Anderson came and sat on the meeting too, because of his past experience with working with Parks and Trails, and he volunteered to bring that up at the AMC district meeting to get support from all the district counties, even ones that the trail don't even run through. If we as a corridor can help support this, we're hoping to get some more traction with this. So that's where they're wondering if they could get a county engineering assistance for use of right-of-way where there isn't railroad bed, just basically opinions and stuff. They don't have to do any work. We just want to try to get as many people that we can working together for this. So, but that's what we're trying to do, is get to Walnut Grove in 10 years. There already is 2 years funding to rebuild the 8-mile loop in Curry. And then with all these other bonding bills too, we're trying to get as much squeezed in as we can. So. On the 22nd, I had a PCMC update. On the 26th, I had a CPT Zoom meeting. No changes in personnel. They're fully staffed. No issues on that, going on for about 4 months now. By June 1st, all staff will have returned to the office. At the time of the meeting, Cottonwood was 75 completed with syncing before it goes to testing. All system servers are running good. Mercer County in North Dakota requested an RFP for services. Hubbard County in Minnesota requested a quote. 2 North Dakota counties purchased HR software programs, and they, at the time of that meeting, they had not heard back from the HR directors after having CP staff reach out to inquire, which there's been more traction on that since. And then on the 27th, I had the county and PCMC board meetings, and that was everything for April.
Okay. On the 13th, I attended the Holland City Council. On the 14th, District 8 Land Use. Dallas pretty much covered that. On 15th, the Highway 23 Coalition Legislative Committee met and talked about Minnesota getting $2.6 billion in federal money from the American Rescue Plan. Talked about build local grants may be an option for some, more local projects. We do have our first marketing sign up now on one of the 2 gap projects between St. Cloud and Wilmer, that, promoting the Highway 23 Coalition. And Steve Rambo from Rambo Inc. was chosen to lead the marketing of the coalition going forward. On the 16th, the AMC board met. Apparently they've had a few building issues they've been dealing with. They had that dome replaced and it was leaking, and so they're going to have to come back under warranty and fix that. They retrofitted their doors with better locks, and they're gonna be getting a new parking lot with some like tiling, grounds drainage, and new fencing going up to spruce up the exterior and whatnot. July 14th to 16th in St. Paul is the new commissioner in-person training. So it will be their first chance to see people and other than on a screen. And they have scheduled an AMC board retreat from August 17th to 19th in Two Harbors for strategic planning and whatnot. On the 19th, Hospital Executive Committee met. On the 21st, Highway 23 Coalition, we met with Jeff Bishop, who is the legislative assistant to Congressman Pete Stauber, and they set the annual meeting for this Friday, May 14th, which you're all invited to attend if you'd like, where Representative Michelle Fischbach will speak at 10:30. Our first chance to see her in person, I guess. And then later that day, the AMC Research Committee met. We've reviewed the new commissioner training materials and discussed documenting common county practices related to boards of equalization, ethics, and committee assignments. On the 22nd, Prime Health met. Last year ended with a positive balance, and this year is starting well. So things are going pretty good there. And then we had that hospital staffing update later in the day. On the 23rd, AMC legislative update, many potential pluses and minuses depending on how things shake out this week. But at this point, it seems like a special session is likely, as the budget is unlikely to be agreed to by the Monday deadline. On the 26th, AMC Futures and AMC Board met and heard from Mark Thomas, professor of neuroscience at the U of M, spoke on the influence of addiction on Minnesota communities, including behavioral addictions related to politics, gaming, and social media. Had our PCMC meeting on the 27th, the executive hospital meeting on the 30th. On the 3rd, Minnesota rural counties, they're tracking tons of issues with rural components related to hospital issues, transportation, bonding, those emergency grants, community corrections, and probation might get some increases. Broadband, going to get some amount of money. They have a bill, they're trying to address some issues with wild game processors. And probably one of the bigger items, the Enbridge settlement, they're hoping that the state will agree to cover, Department of Revenues basically sets the rate or the assessment rate for utilities, of all kinds of utilities. And of course, for 13 counties on the Enbridge pipeline, it's a big deal where they basically took them to court and they're saying that they're being overcharged. Well, if they had to pay back that money, in some cases, the payback would be more than the entire county reserves. And obviously, it was a state assessment in the first place. Why should the county be held responsible for something they had no control over? And I mean, some say, well, that only affects those 13 counties. Well, it could affect every county that has a utility line or a pipeline or whatever running through their county, and at some point it'll probably affect every county. So hopefully they'll agree to, just like they should with that family service payback issue. If the state's the one that screwed up, they need to address it themselves and stop trying to push it off on the counties to make up for their errors. On the 5th, at the AMC Coffee, we discussed broadband expansion with state and federal funding, natural gas issues like related to the Texas issue a few months ago, and talked about census data and redistricting issues with could create a pretty tight timeline, since the census data may not be out until fall of this year. And of course, next year is an election year, so if you're going to try to figure out things for redistricting and whatnot, you'd have to somehow get it done pretty quickly, and usually it's a little contentious as far as how they're going to go about doing that. On 6th, Area 2 and RCRCA, we did finally sign the contract with the J.F. Brennan Company for that Lake Redwood dredging project. Apparently, the Area 2 administrative money is in the budget at the state legislature, but bonding is unlikely to occur this year, and Area 2 will probably run out of project money later this year without an additional bonding proposal. And then, of course, the joint powers renewal and increases on the levy for the two groups we talked about earlier. And then yesterday, we had an executive committee and planned ops at the hospital. That's all I have. Anything else to come up today? That was on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Move for adjournment.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for attending, and see you next time.
You are going to be gone